Hello, welcome to the December 2012 video edition of the Iowa General Fund Monthly Revenue Memo. My name is Jeff Robinson, Senior Fiscal Analyst for the Iowa Legislative Services Agency, the nonpartisan support agency of the Iowa Legislature. This video will cover Iowa net general fund revenue for the first 6 months of cash fiscal year 2013. I will also provide a snapshot of what to expect in January and briefly discuss the impact of recent federal legislation on fiscal year 2013 Iowa general fund revenue. Over the months of July through December, Iowa net general fund revenue increased $264.8 million, up a significant 9.1% compared to the same 6 months last year, a percentage change that is down slightly from the year-to-date value at the end of November. So far, the fiscal year has produced solid gross receipt growth, supplemented by a substantial reduction in tax refunds issued. However, as I will discuss at the end of the presentation, the year-to-date growth rate is likely to decrease somewhat in January. Let's now have a look at how revenue comparisons have fared over the first half of the cash fiscal year. For the following charts, the underlying numbers have not been adjusted for any calendar or processing issues. Revenue increase months are colored blue, decrease months are red. Net general fund revenue has increased 11 of the past 12 months, with revenue increasing at an average monthly rate of $44 million per month over the past 6 months. Individual income tax revenue is the largest source of general fund revenue, and that revenue source has increased in each of the past 6 months, averaging an impressive 7.8% over that period. Sales and use tax revenue has shown a similar pattern to individual income tax, although sales and use tax did decline in November, and the decline was followed by a comparatively modest 3.1% gain in December. The last 3 months produced 2.5% growth in gross sales and use tax, quite a bit below the pace of income tax revenue growth. Corporate tax growth has been significant for 20 months now, with only 3 negative months over that time and just 1 in the past year. As fiscal year 2013 stands at the end of December, Iowa net revenue is up 9.1% year-to-date, compared to a general fund net revenue estimate of 3.3% for the entire year. Note that transfer revenue is not included in these growth percents. However, several factors will contribute during the month of January to bring the actual and projected growth rates closer together. The first factor involves known revenue issues that will disadvantage January 2013 general fund receipts, and the second factor involves the revenue estimate itself. Let's look now at the revenue factors. January 2012 produced $541.3 million in general fund revenue, net of refunds paid. The first revenue issue that will impact January 2013 comparisons to January 2012 involves the calendar, with December ending on a weekend last year and this December ending on a Monday. While December 31st is not a big deposit date, last year approximately $16 million was deposited on January 3rd. Money that would have been credited to December had the final day not been a weekend. When January 2013 starts, it will not have the same revenue jumpstart as last January. The second adjustment involves the interaction of paydays and tax due dates. Employers generally use Fridays as the payday, and a year has 52 Fridays, but large employers are required to remit withholding tax twice per month, or 24 times per year. This timing issue creates a situation where the majority of large employer remittances involve 2 Fridays, but 4 remittances per year cover 3 Fridays. The same issue impacts smaller employers who are required to remit withholding tax once per month. 8 months will have 4 Fridays, while 4 months will cover 5 Fridays and therefore 5 potential paydays. These situations would not cause an issue if they fell in the same month every year, but unfortunately the makeup of the calendar results in the extra Friday situation rotating forward 1 month a couple times a year. The impact on withholding tax revenue growth can be significant, but it is temporary and always reverses the next month. This graph shows that there have been 2 Friday impacts in fiscal year 13, with a run-up in 1 month, unwinding in the next. Most of the unwinding of the current one will take place during the first half of January. The size of the impact is not really known, but I have placed a value of $17 million on this one based on similar run-ups and rundowns. The third hurdle January 2013 will face involves revenue from the gambling tax. In prior years, the general fund has received $66 million of gambling tax revenue. However, a 2012 law change lowered that amount to $40 million for fiscal year 13. So general fund gambling tax deposits are going to decrease $26 million this year. Through December, they have decreased $5.8 million, leaving $20.2 million of decrease to go. All of this remaining drop will impact January comparisons. The three negative factors add to an estimated $53.2 million, or 9.8% of last year's $541 million January deposit. This will present a steep hill for January comparisons, and negative or low growth January will bring down the current 9.1% revenue growth rate. Turning to the revenue projection side, as I discussed last month, the most recent revenue estimating conference projection was made prior to congressional action taken to address impending federal tax changes that were set to occur January 1. Not knowing what action Congress would take, the REC based its projection for the most part on the law as it stood at that time, and that meant significantly higher federal taxes beginning on January 1. Since Iowa allows taxpayers to deduct federal income taxes paid, higher federal taxes mean lower state tax revenue. On January 1, Congress enacted legislation that permanently addressed many of the federal individual income tax uncertainties, and the result is a status quo federal income tax burden for the majority of taxpayers. The Iowa Department of Revenue is currently developing an estimate as to the Iowa revenue impact of this federal law change. Once that analysis is complete, we will know how much the federal change is expected to positively impact projected revenue for fiscal year 2013. In summary, the first 6 months of fiscal year 2013 have shown very good growth on a cash basis at 9.1% year over year, considerably above the current revenue estimate. Due to significant revenue headwinds that will impact January receipts, the 9.1% growth rate is expected to decline during the month, and due to recent federal action, the expected revenue growth percent for the year is expected to increase. Combined, difference between actual receipt growth and expected receipt growth could narrow significantly by the end of the month. I thank you for your time and your interest in Iowa General Fund Revenue. Goodbye, have a nice day, and please check out the next monthly video memo in early February.